morning, everyone. Welcome to Biz and Tax Matters with Mike and Dennis. I'm your host, Michael Davis. I'm a certified public accountant. My co-host is Dennis Markowitz.
Good morning, and I am an enrolled agent.
We both operate from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Today, our special guest is Trevor Brown of Elite Veterans Security Solutions.
Hi, I'm Trevor, and I'm a combat veteran.
Our mission is to inform our listeners every other week as to the various aspects of the tax code and running a business, and answer any questions they may have. So if you have any questions, please call in to our call-in number 609-460-4673. Also today, we're simulcast live on video through the PANJ YouTube page at www.panjtv.com. We will monitor your comments and provide any feedback. If you're interested in any of our past shows, they're available at bizandtaxmatters.com. And just so you know, if you're listening to our live show, today is Tuesday, November 13th, 2018. We also have an email address, which is bizandtaxmatters@mjdaviscpa.com. Our show will be available on podcast at panjradio.com and will be replayed 11 a.m. Every day for the next week. So if you're not listening to our live Tuesday show, please send an email with your questions, and we'll answer them on the next show. Our email address again is bizandtaxmatters@mjdaviscpa.com. Please note Biz and Tax Matters in the subject. Once again, the live call-in line number is 609-460-4673. Normally, what we do is we do 20 minutes of tax updates at the beginning of the show. We're going to skip that at the moment and get right into our topic of veterans benefits and hiring veterans. For Veterans Day, I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about our veterans, the things that are available for them, and talk about small businesses hiring veterans and some of the tax credits that may be available and the benefits of hiring veterans. Trevor, our guest is Trevor Brown, as I said, of Elite Veteran Security Solutions, excuse me. Trevor, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, sir, I'm a multi-combat tour veteran. Just recently came back within the last 12 months. Me and my business partner, also a combat veteran, decided that we would like to open our own business to help support veterans that are currently unemployed. So we began this journey of starting our own security business, which is what we specialize in, and just making connections and networking at this point to market ourselves and to get some recognition to veterans.
Any specific security areas you're
we handle mostly physical security, armed and unarmed security, and advisement. We specialize in active shooter and also threat assessments.
Okay, I would like to say, both on my behalf and on Mike's, thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. It means a lot to us.
Yes, thank you very much. What you guys do and how you put yourselves out to protect us and our way of lives is much appreciated. You started your own business. You used any of the veteran available assistance for that?
Not currently, sir. I know that there is some through the VA, but we started out as a small business on our own, making our own websites and using the assets that we have available to us through our sources on the base at this time.
Because I know, and you and I discussed this a little bit before the show, that there are, as a veteran-owned support that the VA does have, as information for any veteran-owned small businesses. It's through the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, and registering through them can allow you to work with the VA. All businesses that work with the VA have to be registered. You can register if you're a vet, and the qualifications are it has to be 51% or more of the company has to be owned by a vet. The vet has to have full control over day-to-day management, decision-making, and strategic policy of the business, with management experience, which is needed to manage the business. The veterans have to be the highest paid individuals in the company, or you can provide them with a statement explaining how a lower pay helps grow the business. You need to be there full time, and you have to hold the highest officer position in the company, and then that would qualify you as a veteran-owned small business to work with the VA. And they also, if you're a disabled vet, there's also a assistance that they have just for disabled veterans, which can give you additional assistance. If you or any other veteran owner must have at least one of these two to qualify for that, which is a disability letter from the VA confirming that you have a service-connected disability rating between 0 and 100%, or a disability determination from the Department of Defense. So for veterans out there, and I'm actually taking this right off the va.gov website, so that information is available, and feel free to go there and look and to help grow your business. You said you've been working with somebody specifically at the VA?
Yes. I went and got my own specific. If you go to your local chapters, which I would strongly suggest instead of dealing directly with the VA, they will assign you to a specific person, and they'll handle your case file for you. They'll help you get your medical stuff in order and whatever it is you need in order to, when you go up to the VA, be properly prepared for whatever the next issue is going to be.
But you also were indicating that there is a lot of paperwork.
There's a mountain of paperwork, and it ranges, and it's constant. They're always changing what they need or what they need to prove for a veteran to get these benefits handed to them. So it's crucial that you stick with your caseworker. Your caseworker is up to date, localized. If you don't have one and you are a veteran, it would be a good time to search one out. They're very friendly. Usually they have a small office within a radius of you, and they are the professionals. They stay up to date on the latest and greatest. So,
just so you know, that the large amount of paperwork isn't specific to the VA. It's specific to any of the government agencies that we deal with.
Oh, yes. Even though they're paperless.
Yes. And that doesn't matter whether it's local or state. It's still the same thing.
Exactly.
What other benefits have you taken advantage of through the VA?
Through the VA. Well, usually I at my point in my career, I'm about 10 years in, I typically stick to the Military Source 1, which is a catch-all source. Through the VA, necessarily I don't have a claim. I just been doing paperwork and documentation in case that day were to come where I would have an ailment or need to go see them. So as a still serving member of the military, I use the Military Source 1. That ranges from everything from getting you counseling, marriage counseling, books for college, tuition. They have a resume classes where they teach you how to build a professional resume, a federal resume. So those kind of sources is what I usually end up using myself and what I tell my others to use.
Now, are they through the VA or are they a separate entity?
I believe they're separate. I know that if there is an issue, that they do have resources to connect. They can connect. Where the documentation is done well, where the VA could use their documentation. Say you went to a psychiatrist and did some things. I mean, they are regulated, so they would be able to potentially connect you to the VA if need be. If you ask them, they would be able to get you in contact with someone. They have the resources or the network to do so.
And how does a vet get in touch with them?
Well, you can go on militaryOneSource.com. That website's pretty easy to use, but I would recommend calling, and then they give you different options. Always do the operator. You'll talk to a person. You can explain your problem, and they're very knowledgeable, very friendly. They'll be able to get you in the right direction for what your problem is.
Excellent.
There's a lot of problems today with our vets, with the PSTD. Does any organization reach out to these people and try to get them into some therapy? Because there seems to be a lot. And if the vet doesn't want to do it for whatever reason, what happens then?
So I can speak about my local. I belong to John Rivers VFW out of Quakertown. They do an outstanding job of reaching out to vets in our community and staying in touch with them, even if they don't reach out. But like I said, usually they're going to point them towards that Military One Source, where they get 12 free sessions for that problem. And then the sessions will be local, so they won't have to travel far. For myself, I'm in marriage counseling right now, 3 deployments. My wife, you lose connection. I got 2 small kids and stress. Fortunately for me, I reached out to the source, and I was able to get the help I needed, and the ladies within 4 blocks of my house. So they're certified. They're good individuals. It still comes down to no one can force you to go seek help. Like I said, the VFWs, I'm sure the Lion Clubs, I've worked around them quite a bit. They do great work in the community. Those individuals tend to reach out to vets they know come home, or vets that are around the area or they hear could be in trouble. But unless the vet goes out and gets help for himself, there's not a lot that they do for you.
That's the key. The vet has to go and seek help.
But they do have things like marriage counseling available also.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's great.
Kids in stress. I mean, they have if you go to the Military One Source, you'll be blown away by the resources that are made easily available. I think that website came out a few years ago, or that group came out a few years ago, and it's really been a godsend to a lot of individuals I serve with today. It's definitely a good thing. Like you said, sometimes it's hard to reach out, but a phone call, they do over the phone. Therapy too, if you didn't want to go in person for whatever reason. And they're experts. These guys are certified individuals. It's not just someone else on the other line of the phone. So I think that's a real step in the right direction. The VA has a lot to deal with, and this One Source is able to somewhat take some of those calls and deal with them more immediate, a little bit faster timeline, within reason, within their professional scope.
What does the organization or the VA do to communicate this to the general public? Because you don't hear much about it. You just hear all the bad things.
So yearly, we get, obviously I'm a guardsman at this point in my career. Yearly, we sit down and we get a VA rep that usually comes in and speaks to us about the mortgages, the home loans, your college benefits. They speak to us about the health benefits and make sure your documentation's right. And if you do have an ailment, make sure you document it the right way. So it's yearly seminars. When you go to get out, they do have a VA rep that will sit down with you and typically go over with you the different steps. But once you're out, like I said, the VFW that I'm a part of, every meeting they have a representative that just deals with the VA. Anything changed, anything new, anything exciting, and having that. But like I said, you have to, once you get out of the military, you kind of have to get involved with the VFW, one's organization. You just kind of have to reach out if you want to stay informed and up to date. Those are their tools, their resources. You can use them, but you have to reach out and grab them.
So they are available.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of service people who get out, then don't want anything to do with the service or the VA. They don't think that they have benefits.
Yeah, but he said that they had seminars annually telling them what their benefits would be when they got out.
Yeah, but it's like
that's
any.
good. But it's like anything else. You got to remember.
Yes. And participate or go or.
Right, but there is again a lot of information on the VA.gov website with a lot of the benefits that are available to veterans. We did reach out to the VA to participate in the show, but they didn't get back to us. So I reached out to them a couple times.
Trevor, what is your phone number or email address so that if people do have questions, they can come and reach you?
Well, I mean, I would prefer that they would reach out to the Mo One Source, a true expert. I'm pretty familiar with my 10 years in with these programs and all the things, but I would prefer that they would reach out to the mobile or military One Source or directly to the VA for the representative that's in their area, because you would want them to have the best expert to the date information, whereas I can offer them a general idea, but I couldn't offer them the expert, on their case, because it's going to be case by case. Every individual person has different needs, and the VA will be able to match them, hopefully, with what they need.
Okay, but your business is dealing with security, so if
Oh, yes,
someone
absolutely.
wanted to use you,
So my phone number is 267-373-8487, and my website, our email is www.eliteveteransecurity.solutions.com.
thank you, Trevor.
And you had to read it because you've just recently started, so.
Yes.
So we want to let people know that.
There's also been changes, to the initial plan, until we've got it fine-tuned out.
There's always tweaking.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
when you're starting a business or you're putting any plan together for your business, we tell people all the time that you've got to put your plan together, knowing where you want to go and what direction you want to move in. You've got to move in that direction very quickly, but never be foolish enough to think it's perfect and be prepared to change on the fly.
Yeah, that's our second. That's our second go around the business cards. Mistakes were made.
Right, exactly. So always be prepared to change. If you're not, you're going to be doomed to failure. So that's a good thing that you made the change. Because it's all about, business is about letting people, part of it is marketing, letting people know who you are, what you do, and where you want to go, and what kind of clientele you want to deal with. Okay, and it's hard to do sometimes. It's hard to pinpoint that, and from there, it's all about what I will tell you to a new business owner from a couple of accountants. It's not about how much your gross revenue is. It's about how much you keep at the end. And you need to set up a record-keeping system to be able to come down to what your bottom line is and manage that bottom line and your expenses. Because if you keep spending money, and without tracking it, you don't always realize that you may be overspending in an area. Dennis, do you have anything?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes when people go into business, they really have blinders on because they only think in one sight of where they want to go. And what happens is sometimes you have to test your waters. Specifically, what's your clientele or customer base? Where are they? What do they do? Do they read newspapers? Do they listen to TV? Do they do social media? And you have to find that out because you may think you know the answer, but sometimes you don't realize that there's something else. People have websites. I have found a lot of clients want to do away with the websites. They're getting no business from it. So why have all that expense? Social media is the thing to do, but unless you know what you're doing, and we've had guests on here who told us that they specialize in that. So anytime you need anything done, you have to go to the right people. And it's trial and error.
And even if you don't think your website's going to draw anything, you should have a website, because there's a lot of time that people will call. Before they call you, they will look at your website to get information.
And you should also be on areas such as LinkedIn and Facebook. So when they want to see about you, they know you exist.
So that's part of the plus side of, I guess, our youth, is we do understand the social media aspect. We did a website, but instead of paying for a professional done, we went along the routes of we designed our own. So we spent very little on that expense, but we designed a website that fit our need. Obviously, being a security company, you want to give background about the owners or about what we are and what we represent, but we didn't need all that flash and all that pizzazz or all that coding. So we were able to do it ourselves because of the product in which we're doing, just like yourself. Like when I came here today, I looked you up.
On the other side to that, what some of those professionals can give you is the SEO information, so that when people are doing a search, you come up, and how to write things in your website that will work with that.
When you go through a GoDaddy engine or some of these other engines, they have the support online that kind of helped us navigate through that and purchase the right packages to make sure that we did show up on Google, we did show up on the right things. But the cost was substantially less. You're talking about $190 a year opposed to thousands that we were looking at professionally done.
Right.
Because we are not really selling chain products. Now, if you go on our website, you'll see that we are selling a T-shirt that proceeds are benefiting the VFW locally to give back. But outside of that small amount, which you just use PayPal for, we're not selling like a massive product. Therefore, we're not so concerned about the coding aspects and people hacking into our stuff.
You should always use the KISS method by keeping it simple. The more you have, the less people are going to see or go to because they get too confused. And it's all trial and error. You know, everybody, all these professionals have different opinions. And you just have to test the waters and see.
Well, that's true. And it may not hurt to talk to a professional that does SEO as a consult to look at it and give you recommendations on to change. Because I know I saw something today from a guy that I know that does a lot of, actually that's the VA on the other line. I wish I could take it. Anyway, Dennis, you want to answer that while I'm talking? Because they can guide you as to how things can be found that way.
Yes, we're doing a radio show
So
right
we,
now.
I would recommend talking to somebody, because you want somebody that's going
He
to
can
do
call you back
searches for
later.
you,
You can call him.
and that where you come up
Okay.
as high as you can on the list.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe that
And-
could be
and that's-
keywords.
So it won't be the thousands of dollars to have somebody look at it. It'll, maybe
Very
be
good.
just a couple of $100.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
So it would pay to do that, and I would recommend that to anybody. Was that the VA?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. But so we are, that's my advice to you in that area. There's a lot of things that you can do to get your information out there inexpensively, but to get that to the next level, you need experts. And there are people available there's probably people available that will assist you because you're a vet.
Okay, Mike, I think we're diverging as to
Yes.
what he does, because we're telling him,
Right.
we're giving him business
no, no.
information. So,
But-
I'm a young man,
But
and
the
so I'm
same
learning.
thing is that business information is just as good to any veteran-owned business that's starting out there.
oh, it's worthwhile to anybody starting
So-
out.
So
No, exactly.
But-
you guys are experienced, and obviously I came in today. You guys welcomed me onto your show, and that's awesome. And we're always looking for that next level because we don't have all the answers. I understand security. I understand what the job takes, and I have good people ready to do the job. But like I said, marketing and getting into that next bracket, I'm not an expert there. I haven't been to that spot yet.
Yeah, that's
Right.
an excellent point, because many people going in business think that they could save money by doing everything themselves. And what they actually do is promote themselves to a job of incompetency because they're not familiar with it. They don't have experience. What you haven't experience with, you know how to do. Beyond that, you should consult with other people. And
So we consulted with website designers, and we saw and we heard what they had to say. We came to the conclusion, like they did, that we didn't exactly need their services for our profession and what we were trying to accomplish, their services were a little bit
Right.
over. We still reference them. I have people in that side of the business that I met through the military who are successful outside that have taken a look over and are like, well, you know, we'll tweak here and there. And like I said, you're always refining. You're always
Correct.
fixing. And like I said, obviously, any advice you guys have for us is definitely well taken and warranted.
And the other thing is you should update something on your website from time to time, because if you don't, you leave it stagnate, it drops on Google.
Yes, it drops on there. So you always have keywords that you have to use when people want to Google you so that you're up there at the higher level.
The last thing I want to say on this particular topic is I did get an email from a web developer this week that says Google is changing their algorithm again, and they are moving websites that are HTTP, not HTTPS, the S standing for security. They're moving them down. So you want to upgrade your site to an HTTPS now. So,
That's great to know. Great to know.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about hiring veterans. You're going to be working with a lot of veterans that you're going to be hiring. What do you see as the benefits of hiring a veteran?
So, being that I have worked in the civilian sector as well, being a guardsman, I can tell you that a lot of employers come in and they're blown away by professionalism. We can put our hand in the dirt and learn a new task, and we'll devote ourselves to that task. We don't shy away from challenges. And I found that to be one of our greatest assets going into an employment field, because most of our jobs in the military don't necessarily translate, but the work ethic and the leadership and the teamwork that is built through the military benefits the workforce greatly.
You helping veterans get full-time jobs or part-time jobs, or both?
I think that, like I said, the contracts, obviously I'm in a contract-based job, so the contracts will dictate that. Also the individual, what the individual wants to work. You know, some of the disabilities might limit them, especially in our field where, depending on your disability, we might not be able to hire you for, say, an armed security position, but maybe we can find you a position as advisement or assisting us in recruiting and training. You know, finding them that spot where that might be just, hopefully it'll be a well-paying position for them to take care of their families, but it could be part-time, not necessarily the full-time opportunity that we all desire.
When you're hiring veterans, are you looking at the opportunities for tax credits?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I have an accountant for that, and he handles that end of the deal. I wouldn't say that's my forefront, but that's definitely a perk that allows me to do a little bit more for the veteran or our business in order to grow it. Any kind of tax cut is always a good thing.
Let's talk about the work opportunity credit that's available to small businesses for hiring veterans. It's a credit to hire unemployed veterans to take advantage of this work opportunity credit. After recent changes and the returning of the HEROES tax credit, which now provides incentives up to $5,600 for hiring an unemployed veteran. If you're hiring a wounded veteran through the Wounded Warriors tax credit, the work opportunity credit for long-term unemployed veterans with service-connected disabilities is $9,600. And there's specific things that you have to do when you're hiring the veteran. You have to fill out a completed form, IRS form 8850, by the day the job offer is made. You can't hire them and then fill that out. It has to be done prior to that, prior to the job offer. There's also an ETA form 9061 or a 9062 if the employee has been conditionally certified as belonging to a work opportunity credit targeted group by a state workforce agency, vocational rehab agency, or another participating agency. The forms have to be completed and signed to the state workforce agency within 28 days of the employee's start date. So you can't do any of this, just wait, okay, I'm going to hire a vet and then do it. Some of this stuff has to be before you actually give them the job offers. The final determination will take a little time from the state workforce agency, and the determination will indicate whether the employee is certified in meeting the eligibility for one of the credits and what the amount of that credit is. After the targeted group employee is certified by the state workforce agency, you can file for the tax credit with the Internal Revenue Service. So pretty much as it is with anything with the government, I hate to say this, but as anything with the government, it's a process.
Yes, but keep in mind, people, Mike had mentioned that the credit amounts to $5,600 at the current corporate tax rate of 21%. That's a savings of taxes on $25,000 of taxable income. So it's a substantial amount of money.
Correct. And if you're an individual or another type of tax entity other than a C corp, it could be higher.
Yes.
So it's a lot.
It's a substantial amount of money.
It's a substantial amount of money. The long-term unemployment credit is a credit for new hires that begin work after January 2016 and before the end of 2019, and during which the individual has to be employed 27 weeks consecutively, including a period in which the individual was receiving unemployment under state or federal law. For the work opportunity credit, certifies hires working at least 120 hours. Employers can claim 25% of the first year wages up to $6,000 for a maximum tax credit of $1,500. The work opportunity certified new hires working 400 hours or more can be a 40% tax credit on the first year wages of $6,000 up to $6,000 for a credit of $2,400. As you can see, the credits go based on how long the veteran will be working for you. There's also a long-term unemployment credit, which is 40% of the first $14,000 of wages paid to the veteran up to $5,600. Employers who hire veterans who have been in receipt of unemployment for longer than 6 months is what that credit will cover. Okay. And these are all additional reasons for companies to look to hire veterans, because the government will give them tax credit. The Wounded Warrior tax credit maintains the work opportunity credit for veterans with service-connected disabilities hired within 1 year of being discharged from the military. The credit is 40% of the first $12,000 up to $4,800. If it's a long-term unemployed veteran, it's 40% of the first $24,000 up to $9,600. The credit can be as high as $9,600 per veteran for profit employers, or up to $6,240 for a tax-exempt organization hiring veterans. Certain tax-exempt organizations can take advantage of the credit by hiring veterans and receiving a credit against the employer's share of Social Security taxes. So for a nonprofit, the credit does not go against income tax, because nonprofits have no income tax in most cases. It goes against the employer portion of the Social Security that's a match that they have for any employees that they have. So that is a great credit available for people looking to hire employees, and a reason to look at veterans, in addition to the fact that veterans are generally will be more focused than non-veterans because of their training. Other benefits available to veterans, there is a VA vocational rehab and employment that if you have a service-connected disability that limits your ability to work or prevents you from working, the vocational rehab and employment program, also referred to as Chapter 31, can help. If you're eligible, you can apply for the benefits, and again, calling the VA and talking to your rep at VA, they should be able to put you in contact with that to be able to do that. The eligibility for that would be you have to didn't receive a dishonorable discharge and have a service-connected disability ranging from 10% or more from the VA. So the work opportunity credit was 0 or more. This is 10% or more. The eligibility for this ends 12 years from the date you receive the notice of your date of separation from active military service or first VA service-connected disability rating. Note that the basic period of eligibility can be extended if a counselor finds that you have a serious employment handicap, and they can extend your benefits for this if you're disabled. If you're still on active duty, these benefits are still available to you, provided that you have a 20% or higher pre-discharge disability rating and will be leaving the military soon, or you're participating in the integrated disability evaluation system process or awaiting discharge due to a medical condition. And again, as you can see, I'm pulling this all off the VA site. There's a lot of information on that site for veterans to find out about the programs that are available that can help them in various ways. I know, Trevor, you said you hadn't done this. You went right to your VA rep.
Yeah, so where I use the base reps, there's a retiree station on base, and they specialize in dealing with the VA and other things for veterans, both older veterans or current, like newer veterans. They usually have representation on, at least on Horsham, they have representation, and I believe in New Jersey, they also have representation on their base.
At Fort Dix.
At Fort Dix.
Excellent. So, now is that available to veterans that have left the service already?
Yes, absolutely. If you call down to a local base and you explain you'd like to talk to the retiree office, or I know Family Readiness, that's a bunch of young, great people that are volunteers. They help everyone. They have, at least at Horsham, they have a food bank. They have all these things for veterans, retirees, current. They just live to help military members, whether current or retired.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that a lot of that is available to veterans. They don't get paid enough for what they do.
The support from the community is huge with us. I can speak for myself and other veterans out there. There's a lot of hard volunteer work done by people that have never served in the military, and it's greatly appreciated. Like you said, the Military One Source and a lot of these other programs, and there's a lot of people involved with these programs that are volunteer, 100% volunteer. You know, you call them in the middle of the night, they come out and help you out. I can speak to the Family Readiness on most bases and installations. You're deployed, your house gets flooded, spouse calls up, they get someone over there to help fix the problem, so that your spouse and yourself being deployed don't have to consider it, and they're not military. They're just great people out here doing work.
I'm glad there's a lot of people that are willing to help the military and veterans. Unfortunately, I remember during Vietnam when there were people that blamed the military people and the veterans for participating in the war, as opposed to the government who created the war. And a lot of people got treated poorly when they came back. There were people, Dennis, you'll
Yes.
remember, there were people throwing things at them during parades and things like that.
Actually,
I always felt
the
that was
vets
a disgrace.
were refrained from wearing uniforms or any indication that they were in the service because they used to be disparaged, even though
Correct.
serving for the country, doing what they thought would be right and protecting the freedom.
They were protecting the freedom of the people that were mistreating them.
Yes.
I always thought it was disgraceful because they don't have a choice. Especially back then, there was a draft. So you got called. Your choice was to leave the country.
Well, there was a choice. It was going to Canada, but then you couldn't come back.
Right, but if your family is here, that's not a choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of
and-
hard work came from those veterans. If you look at the VFWs and the way they're established and how they've survived through that, it's a huge Vietnam-based veteran place. So when you go in there and you shake their hands, even me being, I've served multiple tours overseas, you shake their hands with respect and know that because of them, veterans today have the benefits through the VA. These veterans are the ones that really pushed
They
through
fought,
and
they
sourced.
fought for it, yes.
So even with that, just said being strong-minded, putting your hand in the dirt, they did the same thing. They used the skills that they acquired through the military, and they pushed through a very, very hard time. I couldn't imagine, what they felt like when they came back being spit on. But today I get to shake their hands and call them brothers and stand side by side. And you see us out selling poppies. You see them on the streets raising money. I know every year they put food together for veterans that are in the area that are less fortunate. They put Christmas together for these individuals, for their families. There's been times when I've gotten support from them as well. Yeah, they your house floods. They pay for a week in a hotel for you and your family to survive. So those veterans really forged the way for a lot of these programs.
And it's good to know that the way they were treated didn't turn them off, that they're still out there helping. And I give
Trevor-
them credit for that.
Trevor, I do have to say that it's refreshing to hear all this news, especially after this last elections that they had where there was disparaging of individuals. And with the vets, they don't care what color, what religion, what nationality you were. They're all brothers in arms helping each other. And that's what this country is about.
That is what this country was about, and that's what they fight for.
Yes.
And again, we wouldn't have a lot of the freedoms that we have if it wasn't for the military fighting for what we believe in.
That's right.
I was looking at when I was looking into doing the show and the thing about veterans, I was surprised to find that we've actually now been in combat someplace for 17 straight years. Someplace we've been fighting something someplace, which I think is as longer than Vietnam. And I give the people that do it a lot of credit. And again, as we've said before, thank them for it.
Well, you guys giving us the airtime and giving us the voice only makes it stronger, and we appreciate you guys for telling us about these benefits. I mean, even I serve every day, and I was able to pick up. I'm looking at an IRS paper right now that has benefits for veterans that I would like to take with me to share with my friends
Well,
and
that's for you.
other partners. So I mean, just you guys on the ground make our lives better. The way we vote, the way we choose. Not everyone in the VA served. These are people. These are doctors. These are people that care and could have made more money but took less to work with veterans. So like I said, there's a lot of really good people in the world, and they don't get enough credit for what they do either.
Well, we want to thank them also for helping our veterans.
There should be more veterans in Congress and government.
There should be.
Yes.
We live in a great country where we have votes. You know, you gotta believe in the system. The vote wins. If veterans aren't running and veterans aren't putting themselves in that spot, then let the best man win. I don't believe because I'm a veteran I deserve one step over anybody else that's worked hard in their lives. I definitely think that we're in a position to do that, to make those runs and plans. And I believe we bring something to the table to offer, but we need to put ourselves out there and put ourselves in position to be in the community like that, and to give us a chance to be voted in.
Well, it's
I
not
agree.
only that, it's the experience and the training you've had, not to be killers, but how to work as a team to accomplish what you're trying to do.
And that, getting back to business, helps create success in business.
Yes.
Also. When you have a business and you have employees, it's about everybody working as a team. So, other benefits that are available, there are VA health benefits. And if you qualify, you can receive coverage for the services. You need to get help, and we talked a little bit about some of the benefits that you've been receiving. Each veteran's medical package is unique and will include care and services to help treat illnesses and injury, prevent future health problems, improve the ability to function, and enhance the quality of life of the veterans. Veterans receiving coverage for most care services only some will qualify for added benefits like dental care. The full list of benefits available depends on the priority group of the individual, the advice of the VA primary care provider, which is the doctor or nurse practitioner or physician's assistant, and the medical standards for treating any health conditions you may have. If you're just separating from the service, active duty, and don't know where to start, you can call the VA about the health care benefits. They have a concierge for care called the C4C team that will also contact you after your separation from service to answer any questions that you may have, process your application over the phone, and help schedule your first VA appointment. So it's just more benefits that are available. There's also opportunity for long-term care benefits. It just is great that the information is out there. As I said before, I'm reading all this off the website, which is really, really good to know that it's out there.
The plus side of having it the way it is today with the website is that if you are a daughter of a veteran, or your grandfather was a veteran and he served, you can go through this website and you can help get them aids, and things that they might deserve, as far as, like, say they're in a nursing home or they're here or there. They might not have the ability to go online because a lot of stuff wasn't accessible to them when they got out. Whereas they are due something. There is something for them to have. So it's not just the veteran that can reach out.
It's the family member
Yep.
that can reach out.
Yep.
So,
And get them in touch with somebody.
correct. To be eligible for the care, you had to be in active military, naval, or air service, enlisted after September 7th, 1980, or entered active duty after October 16th, 81. That's probably when the draft was terminated, I would think.
Sounds like that's right.
You had 24 consecutive months of service, or the full period for which you were called to active duty, unless any of the descriptions below apply, which is the minimum duty may not apply if you were released because you were disabled. you were discharged for a hardship or an early out, or served prior to September 7th, 1980. If you're a current or former Reserve or National Guard member, you had to have been called to active duty by a federal order and completed the full period for which you were called or ordered to active duty. If you had or have active duty status or training purposes only, you don't qualify for the VA health care if you're a guardsman or reserve. So again, there are a lot of benefits out there. I wish there were more. Trevor, we were talking earlier, you said there's a lot of benefits that are available to the families. That there's also benefits available. There's such as, which I didn't see when I was examining the website looking to prepare for the show, that there's benefits available for the family, like marital counseling. You said that's available for people. A lot of times when there's a separation, it's hard to come back.
Children's anxieties.
And especially when you're separated and you're in a distress situation.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Coming back and you're not used to sharing with a spouse and getting used to that again. That's got to be difficult.
Yeah, so like I said, Military One Source, which I've personally used myself, is an outstanding program. The military has come a long way in understanding the stresses of war. They have Yellow Ribbon programs run once again by the readiness, family readiness programs from the installations. And they do a good job of doing couples retreats, getting you in contact with the right counselor for your issue. I said I got 12 free sessions just from marriage counseling. Now, if something else comes out of there, anger, depression, whatever that, I'll get another 12 free out of just by calling them up, and they will put me in contact with a professional, either online, through a phone, or in person, whatever the veteran wants to do. I can't say enough about those kind of programs and what they're doing for veterans. I know that states have different like life insurance policies, so if I go to get out, I can keep a life insurance policy for a cheap plan. They offer that. I know the VFW has their form of health plan, which is backed, which is pretty decent. I get stuff for that all the time, but obviously I'm still under TRICARE, so I don't really need that this time. But I know I get yearly stuff for that and information for that. But like you said, once again, you have to reach out, or your family has to reach out. All the stuff's online. You know, a family member can go on and access that. Like my spouse could go on to Military One Source and get some help if I were in trouble or I would need something. She could help set that up, or at least get them to make contact with me to want to set that up.
You know, I'll tell you an interesting story. I had a client last year. He's since passed away, and he moved into an apartment complex, and one of his neighbors was a retired major in the Army, and they were talking. And the major said, you should have received some kind of benefits from the Army for your injury you incurred. And my client says, well, I was rejected. The major said, well, they changed the law like 15 years ago. He said, you should try to reapply. So the major assisted him. He reapplied. He got retroactively $100,000 in benefits that were tax-free. So it's out there that you have to contact the right sources to find out what's available. And don't stop asking questions.
No, you never accept no as an answer, especially if you feel that you've been wronged. I mean, that's just an everyday life. If you get no from over here, but you believe you have a case, or you have something you desire, you can't accept no. No is just another opportunity. You just got to go somewhere else. There's always another chain or an outlet. It might not be exactly what you wanted, but someone is out there to help you, and someone will help you.
Speaking of that, there veterans' disability benefits, most of it's non-taxable.
Yes.
There was a period of time, I think it's about a 10-year period of time, where the VA was calculating it the way they were supposed to, which the government passed the Combat Injury Fairness Act of 2016, so they were calculated wrong. Anybody that's been on disability that may have had some of it taxed can go back and amend their tax returns. So they should have, and their accounting professionals look into that, and possibly, if necessary, amend the tax returns and get refunds.
Yes.
Normally, you can't get a refund if you go back after 3 years, but for this, you can.
Here's an exception.
Yes, this is an exception. And I think there's a deadline. I don't know what that deadline is for doing that. So it's something, if you're in that situation, go look at it. A lot of it had to do with upfront lump sum payments that people had received.
That's great stuff. This is great stuff. I'm going to post this up on our base. We got a lot of retirees, a lot of people that were injured recently, that this could really help out. See, there's your Military One source right there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
this is
good stuff.
I pulled this off the IRS website, information for benefits. If anybody wants to see it, with a lot of great information. There's also information in here for homeless veterans and how they can get assistance. There's information on here for veterans in crisis. There's a veterans crisis line, which is 1-800-273-8255, and press 1.
If anybody is interested and wants more information, just send it to our email address.
At bizandtaxmatters@mjdaviscpa.com.
Yeah, and we'll lead you to where you have to go.
Correct. I think we're getting close to the end of the show. Is there anything else, Dennis, that you would want to say before we go off? I think
Yes,
we have 3
I
minutes.
want to thank all the veterans, and not just Trevor, for their service. And God bless you all.
And I will second that. Trevor, anything you would like to add at this point?
Yeah, just appreciate you guys having us on, giving us the airtime to get out. The information you gave me here was valuable. I said you can always pick up more stuff, and this is going to be used as a tool to help some veterans that definitely could be needed.
Excellent. And we're glad that's what we wanted to do with the show, is to get as much information out there as we could. There were a lot of benefits that we didn't talk about. There are VA home loan benefits, housing grants, disability housing grants. There's programs out there that can help
Pay for colleges.
Get veterans. I know one vet that's getting a home. The company's donating a home. There's a program
Yeah, Home
for the
Depot.
wounded warriors. And there's a lot of things out there, as you said, including life insurance, pension, all kinds of stuff. A lot of it is available. The information is available on the VA website at va.gov. And I want to, again, thank all our veterans for everything they've done for us. And see you all in 2 weeks. Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure. This is stuff.
Especially with the tax stuff, we don't